Hey, Heckler had a question for us. Let's get the Heckler online.
Okay.
Here was the Heckler's question to us, Fez, and he sent it to us on an email.
An email?
Yeah.
How does an email work?
Well, you know what mail is, right?
Yeah, the postman brings it to me.
Sure. Well, this is, without the postman, this is an electronic mail.
An electronic mail? All right, wouldn't the postman get electrocuted? Which would mean he would die.
No. That's totally left out. You see, electric mail or email comes to us through the computer. Try to listen to this and see if you understand.
And now, Ron and Fez, the show of the future, brings you...
Electronic mail. Mail sent electronically.
Oh, now I understand.
All right, Fuzzy, we're going to get the Heckler on to discuss this, but he said if you had to pick the most influential American rock band, who would it be? It's really a tough question. Single artists don't count. Maybe this would make a good bet. It seems that damn British invasion created a vacuum with great American bands. It's really true. When you really look at the biggest bands all time, most of them are British bands. And as long as you're not talking about a single artist like an Elvis Presley or a James Brown, it gets a little confusing what was the most influential American rock band. Now, you're not saying the biggest selling. You're not saying the most popular, but influential. So we'll pick that up.
Interesting question, Heckler.
A little topic of discussion coming up. Hold on for this. Pizza.
Bob John.
We're the Ron and Fez Show.
We're back with the Ron and Fez Show.
I've seen the bright lights of Memphis and the Commodore Hotel. Low George, where are you now? No, we need you so very, very much. Bessie, we just read an email from our friend the Heckler.
Email?
He put a little topic out there for us. Most influential American band, not counting the single artists.
All right, most influential American band.
Yeah.
All right, that's difficult when you start to think of the legends in music.
I think it's difficult when you start to think that the American bands haven't been as influential as the British bands. And then the bands, I mean, so many of the really influential people were single acts, like a Bob Dylan or even like a Muddy Waters and Elvis Presley. A lot of our bands, even though some of them have gotten big, don't seem to be nearly as powerful as those British bands.
So when you put it into that niche, most influential American band, who's it going to be? Who could end up on top?
866-277-4969. What about for you, Fez?
For me, Ronnie, I would have to say the Skinner Boys.
The Leonard Skinner Boys, great band. Were they influential or were they really derivative of the Allman Brothers?
Oh.
Since the Allman Brothers got there first, and really, I remember when at first I heard Skinner, I went, is that the Allman Brothers? Oh, but listen to this. Turn it up. Alright, I don't know, Fuzzy. I gotta just say that they were too much like the Allman Brothers.
I can understand that argument.
Now, Rory, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna have to go with Nirvana.
Nirvana, definitely 90s influential. A 70s influential, yes. But if you listen to the Pixies in the 80s, you would have heard the sound already.
Yeah, but I mean, this opened the door for like a Soundgarden, even for an audio slave of today, like Rage Against the Machine.
I understand that. For, Rage Against the Machine I don't know about. But again, they were doing the basic three-chord punk. I think it came at the right time to blow out all the hair bands, but still, I don't know. All right, here's Brian. Brian, you're on Ron and Fez?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
We're talking about the most influential American band.
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
All right, see, now there's somebody else that also Leonard Skinner was kind of derivative of. Great band. Were they influential? I'm sure they influenced Springsteen.
Well, they spoke the truth, and then they shut up. They're like a U2 by the American version.
All right, wow.
The American U2.
Bro, you got a little poetic going to me, and I got a little nervous with that. Got a little faggy there for a second. There's John. John, you're on Ron and Fez.
John, what you got?
Yeah, how about the Doors?
Doors, great band, but were they influential? If anything, they were kind of off on their own.
Yeah, but I think they started like the old alternative thing, and maybe some of the weirder music.
You know, I mean, we could blame Creed on them, but does that mean that they were influential?
If we're throwing Creed in there, that doesn't have to be influential in a good way.
Now, Fez, when I first started to do this, I was probably a little racist. I was thinking maybe Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, since they kind of got that whole California Eagles thing started, and then also went off in that singer-songwriter. But then I got to think to myself, is it the Furious Five? Or, probably more to the point, Run DMC.
Oh.
Run DMC were the really kind of forerunners of that whole 80s rap and making it popular, and also dressing down rather than dressing up.
Talk about pioneers.
When you really look at it, the way the kids are dressing down still looks like Run DMC in 83. The inner city kids.
That's definitely a good pick.
Here is The Grin. The Grin, you're on Run and Fez.
Hello.
Yes.
The Ramones.
You know, I would actually pick the Ramones over even Nirvana because I think, the Ramones were there first. Although the Ramones, to me, always had a little bit of a Beach Boys sound about them. It never comes up much, but it's the same kind of pop rock.
So if we're following the timeline and who's influenced who,
yeah,
check into those things.
Here is Dan. Dan, you're on Run and Fez.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, I'm thinking Van Halen.
Van Halen?
Yeah, every kid that picked up a guitar in the late 70s, early 80s wanted to be in Van Halen or play the drums. That's where all the big hair started.
Well, you could actually even go back before that.
But they were the big daddies.
All right, hold on, because I'm gonna let you on and hear this one. Who's Carl? Carl, you're on the air. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Carl. You there, Carl?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Well, first of all, happy belated birthday, Fez. Sorry, I missed it.
Oh, no problem.
I would say Kiss is the most influential rock band, and the reason it is because they brought rock and roll, they brought costumes, and also they brought showmanship to rock and roll with Gene Simmons and the blood and the fire.
Now, Dan, you got to agree that Van Halen was influenced by Kiss.
That is a good one, but Kiss gets along together too well, so that's not good.
Yeah, all right, but we're not going to be silly with this. We're going to be adults and talk about it seriously. Although, before you say Kiss, I'd have to say Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
The Alice Cooper band before Kiss even.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, no problem.
That's it.
Thanks for the call. 866-277-4969. DC local lines 202-432-1067.
It's a tough call, Fezzy. It's a very tough call. The most influential American band.
That's a tough question.
All right, what Billy Staples wants to add his. Billy.
Come on in, Billy Staples.
Come in and pull up your pants.
Pull up your pants ought to be the name of a band.
What do you got for us, Billy?
Probably the most influential band for heavy metal and glam rock would be Led Zeppelin.
All right, do you listen to the show at all? It's American band. Where's Led Zeppelin from?
I saw them here. Many times.
I know, but I'm not saying they ever toured America.
He's not English. He goes, does anybody remember Laughter? That's not English. He didn't say it with an English accent.
No, they're an English band. Thank you very much.
American bands, dope.
Yeah, they're an English band. Thank you very much, Billy. Anytime you try to put them into this. Here's our buddy and power caller that's the Jafter.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm still
Do me a
laughing at
favor.
Billy.
Take that music off, Rory, because we're doing American bands, and this idiot. Does anyone remember Laughter? What a dink.
Slap on the back of his head.
I swear to God, sometimes, this is why I don't carry a gun. I'd end up shooting the hell out of him.
Oh, Jesus. Now, Heckler came up with a great one. There's so many people. And, even like Hendrix, you can't consider them because, the experience are more English,
right.
So you can't really count them in there.
Yeah.
I got the Beach Boys just because I think they were, the first big American band to sell all those albums. Brian Wilson was an excellent songwriter. He did all the stuff in the studio. The first American band was like Bill Haley and the Comets, but I don't think they had like a couple songs. So I would say like the Beach Boys were probably the first, and all the harmonies, and I think everyone took from that.
Yeah, the problem with the Beach Boys is they didn't always play their own instruments. Sometimes Brian would brought in other people.
And I'm picking Partridge Family.
The Beach Boys were like, you know, a real rock band, at least at that time, you know.
And like Janet Dean just basically sang, you know, more than that. That's why I think that whole beach sound, like Dick Dale and all that kind of stuff, I think kind of derived from the Beach Boys. I'm not sure if Dick Dale came out first, but
that whole surf music.
That whole surf music thing, and they were like the rivals of the Beatles, and it was like a big first American band.
Yeah, and that only lasted for about a year or two, and then the Beatles beat the hell out of them. That's the problem there. All right, thanks a lot, man.
All right, man. We had a great time Monday night, man.
Yeah, us too. We got to do that again soon.
That was an excellent birthday party. Thanks, Jafter.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Does anybody remember Jafter? That's going to be my new way of introing him. Does anybody remember Jafter?
That Philly Joe with an American accent.
Oh, please. Let's not even bring up his name anymore. Joe, you're on Ron and Fez?
Hello, Joe.
Ronnie, Fezzi.
Hey, Joe.
Aerosmith rules forever. 75, Three River Stadium, 2003 outside D.C. They only got better, man.
It's a great band. No one ever can say that. But remember when they came out, everybody went, oh, they're Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but when they came out, they were just trying to get the hook down. You know,
but we're talking about an influential American band. Now,
what about rap? They brought rap into rock and roll. How influential can you be?
Was that their idea or the Run DMC's? Who I tried to give it to?
Yay.
Yes, they had to say yes.
They had to agree to appear.
You know what? The interesting thing about Aerosmith is a lot of the 80s hair bands were all big Aerosmith fans first.
They started a lot of scarves.
All right, I like, Rory, how you have to grab it from the Real Puss era when they weren't cool at all anymore.
Yeah.
You didn't want to grab old school for me.
I'm sorry about that.
Here's Steve. Steve, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron and Fez. Good evening.
Hey, my friend.
I think the Byrds would be up there.
Now, actually, the Byrds is a little more interesting. That would even a prequel, that Crosby, Stills, and Nash that I was pushing a little while earlier.
Yeah, with Gene Clark and Hillman and McGuinn and David Crosby. So a lot of influence in the later 60s as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people bring up the McGuinn and the Byrds as their influence.
Yeah, and that was somewhat of a California sound, although it came as, after the Beach Boys. You know, it was, you wonder if there would have been a Byrds if there wasn't a Beach Boys first. It was kind of, that the New York folk scene meets that West Coast sound. But the Byrds are a very interesting one. Thank you very much, Steve.
Okay, good night.
That's it. I mean, the Byrds have got to be in there. Certainly more than, the Doors, and especially when you're saying the most influential and you're going so late in the game. At least when Run DMC and, you could even say the Furious Five before them, but to do it, that kind of music wasn't done before them.
Yeah, the innovators, and then you could trace it really easily to what it's become today.
Yeah.
866-277-4969, toll free, DC local 202-432-1067.
Mike, you're on Fez.
Hey, the most influential in its genre has to be Dog Star.
Well, the great Dog Star band, the first of the real,
celebrity.
The celebrity bands, and there's so many of them out there. You've got, the 40 Foot of Grunts, or whatever the hell they're called.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, what's his name, Angelina Jolie's husband's band?
Yeah, they got, Jericho the Wrestler. He's
Fozzy.
Right. The Bacon Brothers.
The Bacon Boys, who do just a great job. When they end with Footloose, there's not a dry eye in
the House of Blues, Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe's got his band Gladiator.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. All right. The Russell Crowe band, that's the 40 Foot of Grunts, or whatever the hell it's called.
That's what it is?
Yeah, what a stupid thing for someone to be getting caught up in. The celebrity bands, there's nothing funnier. There's so many of them.
People can't be satisfied by doing one thing well. They think they have to do everything well.
Well, I think one of the things is when you're a movie star, sometimes you got off for 7 months. So why not go out on the road, away from your chick, meet other broads who are willing to give you skull? That's what it comes down there.
So that's how it works.
Yeah, that's how it normally would work. Of course, Michael Mara's band. Everybody's in a celebrity band anymore. Here's Mike.
Crap.
Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys.
Hey, buddy.
How about the Velvet Underground?
Wow, great band.
I mean, there was nothing like it on the East Coast. The first album sold about 50,000 copies, and everyone who bought it formed their own band.
That's always been the legend about that. Don't act like you thought of it, Mike. I've read that myself. Man, the Velvet Underground. That kind of started punk. Kind of got punk started. All right, thank you very much. That's a possibility.
Thank you for the input, buddy. Talking about the most influential American band.
All right, what about the Go-Go's? Because without the Go-Go's, we wouldn't have the Bangles. And then
Bananarama?
Yeah, no, and then we wouldn't have the Donnas today. So it's very interesting. Here's Steve. Steve, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah.
Black Sabbath.
All right, you might want to go over and stand in the Stupid Billy Retard section. It's American band, Stevie.
Well, I mean, they were in America when they pretty much started. I mean, Randy Rhoads.
Unbelievable. Randy Rhoads wasn't with Black Sabbath. He was with Ozzy.
Oh, okay. Ozzy was with Black Sabbath.
And Ozzy's British. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this.
Well, you didn't hang up fast enough.
I want to have a real show.
That's what happened. We got billied up. The works will get gummed up. The question is, most influential American band.
Ale, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
Long time listener. I'm glad you guys are finally live in D.C.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
All right, awesome. Well, at least in their own group, one of the most influential, I think it is NWA. They totally started gangster rap.
They did start gangster rap.
Yeah.
But is that just one genre of the rap thing
that they influenced?
Well, they totally started a whole, just they exploded after that. So.
Yeah, they exploded. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying that wasn't big, but is it big enough to be the most influential of all time?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if all time, but I guess in their own little thingy, then yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, when we just start to do what was the most influential gangster rap part of this, let's do NWA then.
When we start to, micro-organize and we get into the little niches and genres.
Yeah, let's go macro now. Here's Irvin. Irvin, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Ron. Lowell George died over here in Crystal City.
Was that right?
Yeah, I saw him the last night that he ever performed.
He was a genius.
Yeah, he was. But I got to go with Grand Funk Railroad.
Grand Funk Railroad. That's kind of interesting. They started that whole kind of power trio thing in America, though. But you have to say that they probably wouldn't have done that band if it wasn't for Cream.
Yeah, but that was an English group.
Yeah, I understand, but it's not like they kind of went off and invented that on their own, the way, let's say, Birds or even a Beach Boys did.
Right.
But a lot of people did try to go out and become. I mean, if
their time in the 60s, early 60s, late 70s, they were the number one group.
He says early 60s to late 70s. They had a 15-year absence there. But yeah, late 60s, they were the number one band in America at one time. It's hard to believe. And remember, without a Grand Funk Railroad, would we ever had a Brownsville station? And, that was smoking in the boys' room.
Interesting.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Yeah, man.
That's it.
Thanks for the call.
It is. I got another one for you along the same lines a lot of people don't think of. What about Sly and the Family Stone?
Sly. You gotta love Sly, that whole funk.
Yeah.
That influencing everything. Although, you can trace it all the way to Macy Gray now.
Oh, and Chili Peppers, on and on and on. They brought on the funk. And, of course, I like it. He was like one of the first real band leaders who could leave for a while and just take off on his own. Most influential Americans bands. Heckler brought up a good one. Sometimes I think maybe Extreme, because if that
controversial lead singer,
if that band hadn't stunk so bad, Rory wouldn't be with us, and I wouldn't have a constant headache.
How influential can you get?
Yeah. So they literally, on me personally, the fact that they couldn't pull it together influenced me. Here's Joe. Joe, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Joe.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
How you doing?
What can we do for you tonight, Joe?
I've got a stupid one, but how about Metallica? I mean, I think they really kind of paved the way for a lot of that really heavy guitar work, like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and they're still working it up today.
Metallica I have a lot of respect for, Fezzy. Of course, I was the first to yell South Africa with all those other people when they cut their hair that let me down a lot.
They influenced downloading music.
Yeah, in the wrong way. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot. Were they influential, though? You know, I mean, the thing is, you can be a great band and not necessarily influential.
Trying to look at the big picture tonight, the big scheme of themes. What was the most influential American band?
Does anybody remember Jopta? We'll take a break. We're right back. Ron and Fez.
Welcome back to the Ron and Fez Show. Get ready to wrap this up. We got an important question to answer before we do.
You see it all around you. This came to us from the heckler. Our good buddy, he wants to know what is the most influential American band.
When you line up inspirational bands of all time, you're probably going over to England first.
Well, if you say inspirational, then I got to go with that whole Mormon Tabernacle Choir, Fez.
I'm so tired.
Fezzy, when I hear them, I cry. And you know why?
Good. Why?
I just can't stand them, and I just want out. I tried to jump out of a train once.
So influential.
Yeah.
Try that word.
Yeah. Or it's American single artists. We brought that up. Or even producers.
So when you take it down to influential American bands,
what if you break
the list?
What if you break it down?
You can take it down, you can break it down, you can shake it down.
All right, we got our buddy, the heckler, online here with us. Finally. Guess who he was talking to when we couldn't get through to him?
Who?
His girlfriend, Mikey D.
Why is Mikey D holding up the show?
Hey, heckler.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Fez.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, I was actually talking to some of the band members. We're trying to get something going. I'm turning into the Colonel Tom Parker of the Ron and Fez band.
Oh, God. Is that band still together?
This band, they're going from pathetic to superstardom.
Yeah,
you'd be better off as Colonel Harlan Sanders.
All I can say is just keep your radio tuned. There are developments in the group.
Good.
Things are happening.
Don't let them drag you down.
Nope.
With them.
I got the 50% cut like Colonel Parker with Elvis. I'm all set, buddies. How you doing?
All right, heckler, you actually, a lot of people called in over your little topic, your little discussion topic. We were just screaming at each other,
It does create a debate, especially in the bar, when you're sitting there and you have people who are so devoted to...
Well, we're drunk now, so... Yeah.
Perfect opportunity.
Now, Fezzy said Leonard Skinner, and then I said, but outside your neighborhood, and he...
Then I kind of froze up after that.
Sure.
It is very hard because you want to discuss a genre of music.
Right.
Discuss punk, you can go to New York Dolls, Velvet Underground, Ramones. If you want to go to Seattle grunge, I guess you go to Nirvana.
We talked about that.
If you want to go just good old-fashioned songwriting, lyrics, the Byrds.
The Byrds all came up. Run DMC came up.
Well, I don't like to include rap groups unless it's a influential...
Heckler.
Heck, let me tell you something. The rap groups that you speak of will all be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I guarantee. I guarantee.
I like rap, don't get me wrong, fellas.
And who will be the first rap stars that go in? Who will be the first?
Thing.
It's going to be Run DMC.
Of rap, you think?
Yeah. Unless you're going to say the Furious Five.
Well... I'm more of a Fat Boys fan.
No, Fat Boys are not going to go in.
Come on, you got to rent Crush Groove. That's a classic.
Yes, that's a movie. That's not an album.
No, I would say Run DMC definitely for the rap genre.
Okay.
But, it's just such a hard question because every great group that we have is English. It seems that way.
Or the Americans were always great single artists. Like, I know a lot of people like to make fun of Dylan now, but literally...
He's top of the list.
Yeah, he's top of the list. You can say the same thing about Elvis. People are still acting like Elvis on stage 50 years after the fact.
It's an incredible question because when you think about American groups, I've heard people say the Doors, which I don't believe.
I don't think they were that influential.
Same with the Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead.
Fan base that spans generation from generation, but a group that influences people. That's just...
Here's the thing with the Grateful Dead, and I went to a lot of their shows, and I always left before they did. And it doesn't mean I didn't like them. And it doesn't mean I'd have fun. But, I don't have 6 hours to give away.
It's a long day.
I don't have that.
Well, I guess maybe in the southern rock genre, would you say the Allmans?
I said the Allman Brothers before Leonard Skinner. This is exactly what Fez and I were just in a drag-out fight about. We were swinging and screaming at each other.
Ronnie, this could go back generations because maybe this generation has a different, viewpoint, obviously.
Yeah.
And people who grew up on the 60s rock like we did, or maybe somebody from the 50s, or maybe somebody in the 40s says the Ink Spots. I mean, it all depends on where you're coming from, I think. But when you think of one American rock group that influenced and really has that type of influential power, I mean, it's hard just to name one group, because the Beach Boys, I guess they have a lot of pop, the pop music. I mean,
also from the production angle.
Exactly.
That just changed,
Perfect album for that.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Wilson changed the way people produced albums from that point on.
Same with the Velvet Underground. They were doing stuff that nobody did. New York Dolls, I mean, for the punk genre, sure, the Ramones were great, but the Dolls preceded them.
Well, yeah, what about even the Stooges? They were before, MC5, another great band.
Strider and the Detroit Wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much, but you can't just think of one group like, the English groups, obviously.
They have the Beatles. They could easily say the Beatles, and they all go to bed. Then they don't have any more problems.
They're not up all night worrying about this.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's a good question, because you can't get the same answer out of the same people. Everybody has their opinion or no opinion. That's what I get a lot of.
Really? You get a lot of that?
And they say, well, usually that's the story of my life, especially socially. But what about like Springsteen and the E Street Band? Now, I don't think that they're influential, but some people are diehard Springsteen fans.
They are, but you know what? In all reality, I would say they're not a real band. That it's a leader and a band like Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Bill Haley and the Comets. That front man went and named something after himself. I say that makes you a solo artist in the background.
Exactly.
You're not a real background.
Rock groups that we praise and that we love, they were influenced by American solo artists like Chuck Berry and Little Richard.
Right.
All the old stars that got ripped off.
You could say Muddy Waters. You could go on a lot of, blues people.
Exactly. But group-wise, the British invasion really destroyed the growth of American artists at that time period, because you had, what was the big records in those days before the British invasion? You had surf music, right?
Well, even before that, you had that really crappy, almost like early 60s boy band stuff, that Philadelphia Frankie Avalon.
Oh, yeah, your Teen Idols, your Fabian,
Prefab
Bobby
stuff,
Wright.
yeah.
Your Ricky Nelson.
So really they did us a credit there, because we were in real trouble before the Beatles came along.
Yeah, and it seems really funny. And the British had their own little boy bands, people like, what's his name? I just had a little mental block.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, Springfield.
Cliff Richard.
Yeah, Cliff Richard, Dusty Springfield, that whole thing.
One band it's just so hard.
All right, but here's an interesting thing, and Nirvana is a good reason to say maybe them. Not when they came in, it literally just like the Beatles destroyed all the people who were touring and getting played on the radio before that. Now here's somebody very influential, although they probably didn't do it themselves. New Kids on the Block, because all those people of the 90s went back and tried that same formula from the 80s and redid all those American boy bands.
But didn't the New Kids of the Block steal their gimmick from Menudo?
Well, Menudo, some people said, but the fact of the matter is Menudo never really got over in this country.
And not American.
It would be easier to say Bobby Brown Band. What the hell was that? No, Bobby Brown.
Oh,
New Edition.
Yeah, he was a New Edition cast. New Kids plus New Edition.
Which spun off Belle Biv DeVoe.
So, Fez, you say Skinner.
That was my first thought, yeah. I've been talked out of it.
But let me tell you something. First thing in the morning, his first thought is Skinner. Every day.
It's on my alarm clock. West Side, Best Side.
Capricorn Records roster had a lot of the Southern rock artists, whether it was Elvin Bishop, Allman Brothers. That whole Capricorn label had a lot of groups that did have that type of Southern sound. But then you got that California Southern rock. You had the New Riders of the Purple Sage and the Eagles and not Jackson Brownies.
I always thought that all those bands were kind of influenced by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yeah, which goes back to the Byrds, right?
Yeah, which does go back to the Byrds, yeah.
So I think if you do this like your wrestling thing with, this guy beat this guy beat that guy, do it with, this group goes back to this group.
Well, I mean, obviously we could back until we get some guy outside of a mud hut pounded on a hollowed out log. I'm sure we're going to go back to some guy named Igor.
Yeah.
As our early influences.
No, there's not one definitive answer, and I don't think anybody can call up the show and say, this is the group, and you're going to have people agreeing in a majority.
All right. Well,
Heckler, he asked the questions that have no answer.
All right, Heck, a lot of people are going to be are on the lines right here. It's 866-277-5670. 4969. We'll try to take as many as we can by the end of the show. Here's Steve. Steve, you're on with Ron and Fez. How are you, buddy?
Well, buddy.
Yeah, who do you think?
Hey, man, before I heard, I didn't hear most of the show. I didn't know you were doing just bands only, but I was going to say that Miles Davis, man, did some incredible stuff. His changes through music are still heard today.
Reinvented music 5 times. Miles Davis, you can't say enough about him, but not a band. Here is Tom. Tom, you're on Ron and Fez?
Hey, Tom. Yo, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, beautiful. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that before, I was going to say Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, but I changed my mind to Run DMC while you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because they stayed current, The DJ didn't have to get shot. There they are. Now they're just like everyone else. If not them, then let's start.
All right, thank you very much, Broken Nation. Sorry, here's Bill. Bill, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, hello, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
I got one for you. Parliament Funkadelic.
P-Funk?
Yeah, because they took what James Brown, the Beatles, and Hendrix was putting down, combined it, and came out with their own thing. They made it cool for brothers to play the guitar, and they influenced everybody from the Police to Talking Heads to Prince, Earth, Wind and Fire, and if it wasn't for them, there would be no West Coast rap. Anything that Dr. J and NWA put down was behind P-Funk beat.
Man, there's a lot. You know what? That's pretty interesting when you think about who were the people that a lot of the rappers lifted from. And a lot of them were lifting James Brown music for years. And they did lift a lot of P-Funk.
Particularly the West
Doggy
Coast
Dog. Yeah.
One of my favorite albums ever was Maggot Brain. I had that on 8-track.
I got them all, and I love you, Heckler. I look forward to your calls.
Hey, brother, you okay, man? How's everything down there, okay?
Oh, we're cooling it in Baltimore, man.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Talk to you later. All right, see you later.
Thank you for the call, buddy.
Hey, listen, guys, and I was thinking the first rap song, could it be the Ballad of the Green Berets? What about Convoy?
100 men will return today. Convoy.
Guys are doing rap.
Convoy was definitely the first CB song.
But it was a rap song.
I don't think it's considered rap.
It would be interesting. I would consider it more spoken word than rap.
Oh, okay, because it was kind of...
Yeah.
I think I had the 45.
Here's CP. CP, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how about from a social standpoint, what about like the Four Seasons? Someone that opened up the Billboard chart.
I liked every season but Winter.
Couldn't stand him?
No.
Big Frankie Valli fan over here, guys. I love him.
No, I want to give that the same heat as before. The fact that it was Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And, they said that was the two bands battling it out, them and the Beach Boys, before the Beatles came on. So bigger band than is even remembered.
And if we kick it back old school, what about a vocal group like the Platters?
The Platters is very interesting. And what you got to think is that where the whole Motown sound came from, stuff like that. Here's Zardoz. Zardoz, you're on the air.
Hey, Zardoz.
Ron Freddy.
Yeah.
Making love and a giant flying head, I feel I'm most influenced by Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys kind of brought together garage band, Seattle grudge, heavy rock, and they actually kind of mainstreamed rap back, 78 when they first came out? Something like that. And,
it might have been the first rap ever to go to #1, Beastie Boys.
First major tour, they opened up for Madonna.
Yeah, they did.
But they kind of mainstreamed, it kind of brought the white crowd into rap and tuned them into it. And then at the same time...
Well, they didn't have to bring me, brother. I was already there.
At the same time, you got to fight and...
you got to fight for your right to party, yeah.
Yeah, and Intergalactic, they're all over the place.
And you know what? Let me say this. Before the Beastie Boys... I didn't fight for my right to party. You did? And I used to let people take pot and beer right out of my hands.
Oh, bullet.
And after that, I started to fight for my right to party.
You stand up for yourself, Ronnie.
And then later I went to rehab. All right, thanks, Zardoz.
I like that.
He's a power caller.
Remember the Cookie Puss?
Yeah, sure.
That was on an independent label, I believe, and got him a deal. And then, of course, License to Ill took off, and no sleep till Brooklyn.
Here is Comet. You're on Fez.
Hey, Comet.
We lost you, brother, man. Let me go up here to Fred. Fred is dead.
Hello.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Fred.
Hey, while you guys were talking, I was just coming up with all these names, man. And metal, kind of Iron Butterfly, Vanilla Fudge, Steppenwolf, those guys, weren't they kind of influential before anybody else?
It's kind of interesting. I mean, you've got to think of Steppenwolf of being the first band ever to use the word heavy metal.
Yeah. That was where the term really started, was back then. Southern
I hadn't even thought of
that. I think you guys mentioned already.
Yeah, we did mention
Everly Brothers, I mean, they started a bunch of stuff. How about Motown? We missed that whole thing. When we were falling all over the British over here, the British were falling all over Bob Dylan and Motown.
But here's the thing about Motown, as far as the band goes. They weren't, so many of those guys weren't writing their own music like
for sure. Yeah,
the Temptations.
Holland wrote
and, they weren't playing their instruments. And you could fight whether they were a band or a vocal group.
Yeah.
Okay, the Funk Brothers.
Holland, Dozier, and Holland, because they wrote everything, those guys.
Yeah, well, on a different night we'll do best writers, but we really were doing best bands.
Kind of all across the board, I think Mothers of Invention. They were prolific, and it's hard to separate prolific here from, influential.
My only problem with Mothers of Invention is
all kinds of stuff that nobody ever did before.
Who was the front man?
Frank Zappa.
And I call him a single act with a backup band.
I was afraid you were going to break that down.
Yeah, I was going to bust your balls.
I broke down.
But, Frank played with a lot of influential people, such as Flo and Eddie of the Turtles.
Yeah.
Frank definitely, he was a revolution among them. I mean, Zappa, his fans, the fans is a very special breed, and Frank's music, the guy musically was an incredible guitarist.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I'm a big Zappa fan.
He's an incredible writer, too.
Back in New York, and
if you want to go like rock and jazz, kind of.
All right, thanks, Fred. It's good stuff there, but I break it down on the fact that we're not looking for most influential artists. Zappa might have to go in there. But if it's band,
talking about American band, most influential.
Oh, we could throw some Grand Funk.
Well, that actually came up from that power trio, but I kind of felt like they got their thing from Cream. Am I wrong there, Heckler? Am I off?
Yeah, pretty much, because Grand Funk, don't forget, had a lot of exposure. Don Kirshner's rock concert was pushing them like,
Sure, why shouldn't they?
13-year-olds,
Why shouldn't
I haven't heard that word forever. Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Think about all those old bands we used to see on Don Kirshner's rock concert, the Midnight Special with Wolfman Jack. He would come out and introduce Kansas every week. He would introduce
Here's some bad. Remember how bad he was?
He was just awful.
It would be like, now my next guest are a good band. They are good friends of mine. Here's Black Oak, Arkansas.
They'll go straight to the top. I know, and everybody who tried to give me the Van Halen thing, go watch Black Oak, Arkansas, the old stuff, and you would swear that was David Lee Roth. Hey,
Andy.
Here's Jeff. You're on Fez.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Jeff. First, I called in for Peter, Paul, and Mary. When I was on hold, it came to me. All you have to do is say 4 words. Word to your mother, Vanilla Ice. He's the greatest of all time.
All right, single artist, and he is the greatest of all time. We understand that he's the best ever, but it is a single artist. Pete, as far as Peter, Paul, and Mary, love Pete, love Paul, hated Mary.
Oh, what's the problem there?
Biatch. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, there's got to be a folk influence here somewhere, but I don't know where.
Somewhere.
Who would be the folk band? The folk band. Would it be Peter, Paul, and Mary?
I would say it was the Fugs for me.
The Fugs?
Yeah, just because they got away with that name. Heckler, you hear that music? That means you would have been on longer.
Well, guys, let me just say it was a pleasure.
Thank you, my friend.
Doing my homework, going on the internet, looking for some seminal rock and roll groups that are influential, and as usual, my friends, it was a great time.
Thank you, Hack.
God bless. Talk to you guys soon.
We're back tomorrow.
At 7 o'clock, right after John and Mike on 106.7 WJFK.